I can just hit just chatting. We can listen to Fightinggm's video about why fighting game tournaments are scams, and I'll pause in certain intervals and talk about how I feel about said arguments that he makes.
What's good, everybody? This is the one and only GM, and today, the video that I'm gonna make and talk about is why FGC tournaments are scams. And the reason why I'm gonna tell you why these joints are scams, I've been thinking about it for a while. You know what I'm saying? I used to go to them joints all the time. I'm gonna tell you why these joints are scams. The reason why these joints are scams, you wasting so much money to go to these joints, thousands of dollars, and first place is the only place that you might make your money back a little bit, because the pots for first place, to give you an example, Evo Japan, you get first place.
It was like 6,000?
That's 6K.
Yeah, it's
That's
6,000.
not counting being taxed. And then second and third, 2,000, 1,000, 3,000. So you're not making your money back either way. And the way they glorify these events is that if you win these joints, you're pretty much set. You're not even making your money back. You're basically playing for clout.
I could probably pause there and talk about it because I think that's all we need to hear. He believes that fighting game tournaments are scams because you don't make enough money to sustain the fact that you're going to tournaments. Only the top one player makes anything reasonable, and they cost too much. I believe he says, like, he talks about registration at some point, I'm sure, because he does have tournament history. Fightinggm is a very strong Tekken player, and I remember seeing his name in Tekken brackets long before, like the early Tekken 7 days. And I think the hardest thing to come to grips with is that without esports money, with these grassroots tournaments that most of the FGC is made up of, with no leagues, that's kind of the freedom of the FGC, right? We view these big tournaments as conventions and meetups significantly more than we think of them as a way to live life and make money, right? You're not winning a fighting game tournament and becoming a millionaire or making $100,000 and living off of that for a year. That's not generally what fighting game tournaments, especially grassroots ones, are about. It's the same thing with grassroots Smash. Grassroots Smash, I believe, probably even has less money, right? The logic that he's gonna bring up, I'm sure, is that the tournaments cost a lot and that money's going into their pocket. No, the tournaments cost a lot and that money is going back into paying commentators, paying or getting merch for TOs, right? Or giving some incentive to TOs. Production probably gets paid, I assume. Internet for the entire venue for the weekend. A big event hall, which costs a lot of fucking money. Running quad streams costs a lot of fucking money. I feel like most people really think that TOs are like lining their pockets and making tons of money. Maybe they make a little bit. Maybe they make some amount of money, but that's a lot of fucking work. I expect them to make money. Just like people who run anime conventions or Comic-Cons or like nerd conventions. All of that I expect. Yeah, the amount of money bandwidth costs is insane. Now imagine that you need high-speed gigabit internet for an entire weekend for... They ask the number of people that will probably be on said internet or what internet is being used for. And you're like, well, we're running 6 live streams for Evo this year in Las Vegas. And they're like, that will be $187,000, please. It's a ridiculous amount of money. It costs a lot. And it costs a lot for us too, right? It's not like they're fronting the bill and we're paying nothing. We're walking in the door for $60 or whatever. No, like the cost of the tournament has even gone up, right? I'm not going to say that it's not. The pot gets $10 and the rest of the money goes towards all of those production costs, right? You pay $80 to enter a tournament, $70 registration, $80 registration, and then you put in another $10 for every game you want to play. It does seem unfeasible to make your money off of fighting games in the current ecosystem. But in that, we have a lot of freedom in the way that we're allowed to run tournaments and that we don't get a lot of potential bad faith actors trying to push esports on us when it could be more detrimental to the overall scene. If you look at the way esports is structured, it's generally structured on franchise leagues Yeah, franchise leagues. It's usually structured on franchise leagues. Are you part of an org? Can you get picked up by an org? Are you not? Because if you're not going to get picked up by some org and be on Team TF Sim that's going to show up for this fighting game tournament and one of their players might win because it's a 64 player invitational where there's 8 players for TSM, 8 players for Team Liquid, 8 players from Moist Esports, 8 players. You understand what I'm getting at. I'm not going to name fucking 8 esports teams. I can't remember 8 esports teams because I don't care that much. If you're not part of that upper echelon of the game, you're not going to get invited. And if you're not going to get invited, you don't have the chance to become a champion. That's why Grassroots is so cool. You want to win generally for the accolades. I don't think most people that are playing in fighting game tournaments, especially large ones, are expecting to win large amounts of money and like become rich off of fighting games. They want to be known as the best in the world. They're fighting for that drive to become the best. It existed the same way back in the arcade days. The difference is entering an arcade tournament was significantly easier. It was a couple quarters and signing up on a sheet. And I can say that from experience. I'm old. Sorry. Maybe some of you've never played in arcade tournaments. So you don't know that experience. But regardless of the situation, calling them scams specifically because you're viewing them differently is probably a bad idea. What up, Don Wolf? Let's watch a little more of the video.
But what about if you don't stream? What about if you don't make videos? What you gonna do? How you gonna make your money back?
You don't.
It's a scam. Plus, a lot of these tournaments are charging $100 just to register, $80 to register, and that's not even including to enter the game. You know what you could do with $80? You know what you could do with $100? You could do a lot of different stuff with that type of money.
There you go. It's Fightinggm. It's called why FGC Tournaments are scams.
You know what I'm saying? Spending all that money to compete. What about if you don't got bread like that? You feel me? Because like back in the day, I'm going to be real with you, I ain't really have bread like that, right?
Oh, he's going to talk about, I already know. He's going to talk about how he used to like room with people, how he would maybe catch a like carpool or catch a train or a bus instead of flying because it was so much cheaper. So that if he did make it into that top 3, did make it into that top 1, whatever, to make his money back. Because his prerogative for going to these tournaments was money. It wasn't the accolades. That's, I bet you.
Just so I could make some money off of these events.
Told you.
I used to take like straight buses because a bus is
Told
like
you.
$40 round trip. It'd be like 18 hours, but it's still cheaper than spending $600 on a flight, right? So I used to do that. And then I'll go to the tournament and I'll find housing. Somebody will house me so I won't need to pay for a hotel. And then that's the way I will make some money. But even then, it still wasn't enough money to keep doing this like that. So it was mad stiff. You feel me? So a lot of these tournament organizers, they eating, charging 80, 100 to enter. They definitely eating. And then that majors top 3 is the only people that get paid. And then third place gets 10% of the pot. So you really not getting nothing for third. Second place, you get 30%, which is bad too. You get like
is it 60, 30, 10? I thought it was 70, 20, 10. What the fuck?
Really like scammy is like
online tournaments.
Online joints because
they're free. Yeah. See, so his logic is he's around the money. He's about the money, and that's okay. You're allowed to be about the money. But if you're about the money, realistically, you're playing the wrong genre. Instead of going to Fightinggm tournaments, why don't you get picked up by a league, by a league organization? Like go play League of Legends if that's your product. Go play Fortnite. Oh, they got free online tournaments. You can play free online tournaments for Fortnite. The Cash Cups. Maybe you'll get noticed by a team, picked up, go to the World Championship. Go play a different game that has that esports infrastructure, but significantly more restrictions because of it. We don't have those restrictions here in the FGC. For better or worse, we're significantly more free to say and do what we want as people because we're in a grassroots community not governed by a giant financial backer. I do think tournament organizers make some amount of money, but I don't think it's a ridiculous amount. I ran, at some point, a pretty successful regional tournament. A few. I called them What a Beatdowns because I live in the city where Whataburger was created. No affiliation to Whataburger. Please don't get me sued. I love Whataburger. If you guys want to, like, because my tournament is named that, Whataburger, if you guys want to send me like a $20 gift card or something, that'd be cool. But regardless, pretty successful, 70 to 80 players for the first few. It kind of dipped down because interest was waning on the games that existed at the time until Smash Ultimate came out. I got a big bump again. So I did maybe 6 of them, something like that. And what did I pocket after paying people who helped me run brackets? paying people who let me use equipment to record the game so we could post it on YouTube later, paying for the venue. What did I make? I don't know, like $30 an event, maybe. Maybe. You could extrapolate that if you want. And maybe you could say that they would be making significantly more money because of the fact that, oh, well, they're streaming those big events. You didn't get to stream yours. You don't get ad revenue, right? You don't get subscriptions. So they're making more money, and they're making YouTube money on the back end. That's the money they're making back. Because they paid for the internet, which was really fucking expensive. And I didn't have to pay for internet. Because I just told people, hey, bring your laptop and a capture card if you have one. That'd be awesome. I would love that. I'll throw food your way. Like, I'll get you some food. Like, I'll bring Whataburger for everybody, or Taco Bell, or I'll just like pay you $10 when you roll through at the end of the day before you leave. Right? I wasn't making a lot. And if you extrapolate that number, or let's say instead of 70, it's 700 with that same structure. Instead of making like 30 or $40, I'm making 300 or 400. That's a lot of fucking work. That's a full weekend's work, by the way. Probably more than that because of the amount of planning that goes into being a TO. You're not actually just working the weekend. You're working 2, 3, 4, 5 months before, promoting, finding setups, finding a venue, discussing with the venue how things must be ran and kept, what rules to set in place. There is so much stuff on the back end that people like this don't understand, don't know about, and they give TOs grief and shit when TOs are the hardest working people in this fucking community. Sorry, I'm tilted. My bad.
Line is bad, so it is what it is. But in person, these venues are crazy. $100 to enter, $200 to enter, and the only thing that's in the pot is basically the $10 you use to enter the actual tournament. That's it. So the pots be real low, and then the splits be wild too. So it's a rough thing out here for competitors, man. Yeah, I feel like people need to start speaking up and stop supporting these events that are just taking all your money, bro. Because honestly, it's kind of crazy to me.
What are they taking your money for? So when these events take your money, they're not taking your money and not giving you anything in return. Well, you're not getting a return in investment. You're getting an enjoyment. If you view it as a convention or a meetup or a big gathering, a celebration of fighting games and a celebration of competitive culture for fighting games, then you won't have the same mindset and mentality. It's okay to have this mentality and mindset, but you're probably in the wrong genre of gaming, or you need to maybe advocate for a league. I don't think there's anything wrong with grassroots. I think grassroots is doing it right, and they cost a lot. But the amount of enjoyment you get from going to a major, look, the last time I went to a major, I had a blast. I spent a lot of fucking money. I'm not gonna lie. I spent a lot of money, but I had a blast. I had so much fun. I got to meet people in the Caliber community. I got to meet people on the other side of the United States who just happened to come through to Texas for Texas Showdown. I got to meet those people. It was great. I got to watch games I normally don't watch, see high level play, become invested. I watched BlazBlue Top 8. Have you guys ever seen me fucking mention BlazBlue? That shit was so sick. I had no idea what the fuck was going on for the first 2 matches. I sat next to someone who commentated Top 32 and just asked them a couple questions. They were like, oh, you don't play BlazBlue? I was like, no, but like this looks really cool. I'm a little interested in at least being a spectator. And he gave me the knowledge to understand more of what was happening on the screen. It was a beautiful experience. It was so fun. It was super fun. That's what I paid for. I didn't pay to win a tournament and make my money back and become some sort of esports pro and live life lavishly. If I wanted to do that, I don't know. If I wanted to live life lavishly, I'd become like a fucking engineer or something. Or, I don't know, show my asshole on OnlyFans. That's not what the FGC is about. That's not what it's for.
That fighting game payouts are so low, but they expect everybody to spend all their hard-earning money to go to these tournaments. They expect you to just make all this money.
They don't
It's a
expect
lot of money
it.
you gotta spend. Like,
They're hoping that they're giving you enough
Like,
amenities,
if it was like
enjoyment,
this
and
before,
entertainment that
I
you'll
would
stay.
have been able to go anywhere.
That you'll
to be
stay
with you,
and
because of
want to
how
go.
expensive it is. It's just crazy how much money you gotta spend to go to all these tournaments. It's way too expensive, and honestly, it's not worth it. It's just too expensive. I know a lot of people are gonna get mad at me making this video, but I'm just being real. You shouldn't have to spend.
I'm not mad. It's just a different mindset.
3 to 4K to go to no damn combo breaker. That joint is a cool tournament, but it's not Evo. Like, you spending like 3 or 4K just to go over there, and if you get first place, you're not even making that back.
Depends on the game.
Talk.
Depends on the game.
And it's always in the most expensive time in Chicago too. I think if you're gonna go to something, you should just at least Evo Japan is in Japan, so you get to enjoy Japan.
Yeah, that's another thing. He actually he mentioned that. He said it's in the most expensive city in Illinois. That's also fine. That means that if you've never been to that city, you can sightsee in between your rounds, between like, oh, I don't play until day 2, I don't play on day 1. You can go see the city you're in. I had never been to a Houston mall, by the way. And when I went to Texas Showdown, that's what I did. I was like, oh, you guys want to go eat? Hey, I've never been to the mall. And they're like, let's all go get food at the mall. And after we ate, I walked around the mall for a little bit, me and like 3 other people, while everyone else started going back to the venue. And I was like, whoa, this mall is fucking huge. I've never seen a mall this big. I don't think any of the San Antonio malls are as big as, I think it was the Galleria Mall. Maybe the Riverview Mall is as big. I don't know. But it was nice just experiencing that, right? Walking around the downtown area of Houston and like seeing a lot of the city that I had never seen before. Because whenever I would go to Houston, I'd be passing through, going to a venue for something, going to a venue for Yu-Gi-Oh, for Smash, for Fightinggm. I'm never stopping to see the sights, but if you do, that's another part of the experience you're paying for that technically isn't part of the experience at all.
At least Evo Vegas is Las Vegas, so you can get it in out there in Las Vegas. But other than that, like these joints is crazy for the pro players out here. I wish there was more payouts in Tekken. I wish there was more leagues in Tekken.
Leagues. I agree.
Sponsors for the players so they could eat. But it's just crazy for competitive players that you literally, like my advice for you guys, you literally have to have a high paying job and enough hours in the weekend to be able to go to these
opportunity cost.
Payoff. Because
he's referring to opportunity cost.
Benefiting these joints is the sponsored dudes.
Right.
That get their whole trip paid for, so they don't need to worry about spending money and they don't need to worry about losing. You guys are in the best position possible. Everybody else got to waste thousands of dollars to compete, which is wild, right? I feel like if somebody were making a lot of money in a 9-to-5, they wouldn't want to do that for a video game anyway. It's just too expensive.
There's so many people who do work a 9-to-5 and still do this, but they don't do it for the money. They do it for the accolades. Brian F has a 9-to-5, still makes tons of YouTube content, still streams, and still competes in online brackets and offline when he gets the opportunity. That's a perfect example. There's no reason why you have to not have passion for something outside of just the money. He did make a good point that I think more leagues would be cool. More beyond the summit styled events, like invitational style events, would be awesome. LK is running one. I have no problem with those. I think that the FGC could use more of those. But I don't think that Grassroots is doing anything wrong by giving everyone the chance to enter and making a giant spectacle and an entertainment area for everyone. Because it's not just about the actual fighting portion of the event. That's not all that matters. Leagues would be cool. I will admit that now.
Like, I know it's just because of the whole COVID thing that happened that made
tournaments were expensive before COVID.
But it's just silly for a fighting game like Tekken that you got to spend like that. I could see Street Fighter why you might want to go in though, because it's $1 million on the line in that. Capcom Cup,
if you're worried about the money.
Tekken, they haven't even said no prize or nothing like that. So it is what it is. You heard, and I hope we could do better. But to me, these joints are scams. These organizers charging like $150 to enter. You know they pocketing most of that joint.
No, they're not.
And you in there, going in there, trying to get top 3 just to get your registration.
I don't think most people are not going to try to win. Most people are going to have a good time and to vibe out. I don't think the vast majority of people who enter a tournament, correct me if I'm wrong, correct me in the comment section down below, correct me by disliking the video. Whenever you go to a major, you're generally not going to win. You're going because you want to meet your friends that you haven't got to see, that you've played online with. You're going to hang out with maybe top players in your game, get a fucking signature on a stick you really love or a controller you love, maybe a picture with them, your favorite commentator, your favorite production team member, right? See the action in person instead of on the stream at home. That's what a lot of people go to these events for. Being able to sit in the background in the crowd, and when the camera pans back and you can see the players, the crowd behind the players, that you're in the front and you can like put up a little sign that's like, "Hi, Mom." That's what a lot of people go to tournaments for, especially these large open bracket style tournaments. That's the appeal of them. The appeal of them isn't money. Red Bull Kumite, the appeal is something like that because it's invitational. Probably more money than accolades. That's generally my take on it. I could see someone wanting to invest into fighting games for the bread. I don't think it's the right call. So if that is the case, maybe you more agree with Fightinggm. If you more agree with me, leave a like on the video. Comment down below how you feel about Fightinggm tournaments being considered scams by high-level players or high-level players because they view the games and the tournaments maybe differently from you or the same as you. Leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. I'm hoping to get to 1,000 subscribers eventually. That'd be really cool. And it's been Beanie Thuggish, reacting to more YouTube stuff, signing out and saying peace.